Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I know this will probably have a lot of people join us for the next, I don't know, 15 minutes, but we'll just go ahead and get going here. There's kind of a lot going on, so I'm just going to kind of see who is logging in. Now we are recording this, so we'll be able to create a YouTube video for those of you who haven't logged on. You'll be able to watch it later. I just want to kind of give you a heads up about that. So most of our webinar issues or conversation today is going to be about all these changes that I did in Canvas today and about what your assignments are going to look like for the rest of the semester. So please ask as many questions as you can, because it's very likely that you're not the only one who has the question that you are going to ask. So let me just go ahead and get started by actually sharing my screen so that you can see where we are. Oh, so many options here. Okay, so you should see, like I'm in Canvas right now. This is my dashboard. I'm just going to go to the online class. Let me get to the student view really quick. And if you have a question, you can raise your hand on Canvas and I'll know, I hope. Well, we have TAs on too, so they'll help me know. Or you can ask a question in the chat. And if you don't know how to raise your hand, have we ever talked about that? So basically, like Lydia, tell me everyone if I'm right, but if you go and you click on the little dot on your picture, it will like have an option. Is that right? Mine doesn't have that option, as you can see. So, okay, so if you feel like you want to speak up, I love that. All right, so I'm going to the student view here. And this is what you need to know. Some of these are significant and some of them are insignificant. But if you go to modules here, I'm gonna scroll down to the where we are. So here's where we are this week. There's kind of a lot going on there, where it's about media research and presenting. So basically the next two chapters of the book, the chapters that I love about law, well, I like the ethics, right? We got to do that last week, but about law and politics and global media, we're not going to be doing those chapters. So basically, this is the last week that we're in the textbook. So you can kind of plan on being done with the textbook for the rest of the semester after this week. You'll also notice on here that there's this presentation piece called parent-child communication. This is Dr. Zurcher's area of specialty. And so if you're in my face-to-face class, you haven't seen Dr. Zurcher as much on the videos, but if you're on the online class, this is an area that she specializes in. And I left it there because I felt like it's really interesting and really applicable if you plan on having children in the future. So it's kind of fun in that regard. Some family communication that we don't really get to talk about with the media slant to it. So hopefully that'll be kind of interesting to you. The next thing that I want to talk about this week is the communication experience, which I changed at the end of last week. So it was supposed to be all about your presentation, but I thought, hey, we're supposed to be getting ready for General Conference this weekend. We might as well do something on the first vision. And so that's what we're going to do. A couple of you have already posted, which good for you. But if you missed a couple of the instructions that we're going to go over, we won't mark you late or dock points or anything if you'll go in and kind of add or monitor the posts that you have made. There's a few of them that they're not quite all the way there. Maybe you don't care and you can leave it how it is. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to explain it and then I'm going to show you the rubric, okay? So here's what we're going to do. So I kind of gave a little explanation about how the church has used mass media since its creation. Something that's been really interesting to me in my personal study of church history is just how it seemed like there was always an apostle assigned to manage the media message coming from the church, almost always. And so that's not something that I really ever anticipated, like nothing I was really looking for, but it does seem to be always there. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at media messages specifically related to the first vision. So you need to find 3 of them. So don't find them from, you need to find original sources, not like some anti-Mormon version of the first vision. That's not what we're looking for. You want to look for original, like church created content. So it can be anything from the BYU religion or history department, or anything like the church created, or anything that you would find on Mormon Messages. You can use YouTube, that's what I did. And I'll show you that example in just a minute. Anyway, but you got to find 3 of them. I mean, you can watch it. Remember, books are mass media too. You could read Joseph Smith History 1. You can do a combination of reading and watching videos. But you need to use 3 of them. And the reason why is because your post needs to be a little longer, and I want to make sure that you have enough content to actually be able to post with what's required, okay? So from there, you're going to do that first, and then the second thing you're going to do is you're going to take chapter 13, and you're going to do kind of like a media analysis, just like you did earlier, but you're going to use not like the terminology and the concepts from chapter 13, and you're going to apply them to this first vision media. Okay, so you need to have like 3 to 5 vocabulary words or concepts. So you can do the minimum and stop at 3, and you won't be docked any points. If you can get up to 5, that would be super awesome. You might be in a good flow where you need to include a couple more. And so you're going to do all of this. You're going to post. But here's the important part. You're not commenting on anyone else's post this week. Okay, so this is your thing with the first vision, and you're gonna be focusing on that instead of worrying about like what someone else said about it, okay? So that's something that I want to emphasize, is this is pretty much an individual assignment. Maybe I would call it like a mini essay on the first vision and chapter 13 smooshed together, okay? So it needs to be about 300, it needs to be 300 plus words. And something that I ask is that you include your word count at the end of your post. So when we're going through, we can make sure that you've definitely reached the 300 words. It's very exhausting to have to copy and paste everything into like Google Docs to see the word count. So we really appreciate that. And then the one last thing I think that's also important about this, because I'm totally throwing off the system, is that you need to post by Friday night at 11:59. Okay, so by midnight Friday night. And my hope for this was actually just to kind of give you general conference weekend so that you didn't have to worry about my class, at least, that you had a little break here, and then you could kind of be on your way next Monday. So that's how things are going to look different as far as like this communication experience goes and this module goes. Okay, let me bring up the rubric. So you can do this anytime to kind of help guide you on what needs to be done. So what I want to point out to you is that this rubric was written by me, and I tend to be more weird. And so that you'll notice the other rubrics had like excellent, good, something, I don't know, but we're doing a good, better, best rubric at one that needs improvement. So you can see, like, if you want to get all the points, what you need to do. So like completeness, for example, if you want to get all the points for this, you need to make sure you have your word count. You need to make sure you have 3 to 5 vocabulary and concepts, all of those things. And then this is the other catcher I want to emphasize. You need to make sure that you use 3 versions, but they also need to be mentioned so we know what versions you used. Okay, because that's also going to be counted as points as well. So if someone uses 2 versions, I mean, you'll still get points. It actually won't dock you too much, but you want to have some. Okay, so that's all in the rubric. So what I wanted to do was kind of give you an example. Now, this is one that I started working on, but I hope it'll kind of highlight the important things. It's not entirely finished. So, okay, so what I did was I wrote here, I watched 3 videos, and then I list the videos that I watched. So that's what I would like you to do, is list the sources that you're using. So I used the one from 1976. I don't know if you guys, I don't know, because you're, you know, I'm like an old person, but we had that like flip. Did any of you have that like flip video where it would like have a little cassette tape and it'd be like beep and you would flip it? So that's the 1976 version.
A laser disc?
No, it was like, wait, does it, I don't even know. I think it might have had it on previously where you could like, I don't know, like I've heard recordings of it where it's like you hear the audio cassette and then you hear the beep, but it was like the disc books on tape. Anyway, it's funny. So there is a website, and let me know if you need a copy of this, but there's a website called Hard to Find Mormon Videos on YouTube, and it has a bunch of random stuff on there. So that might be a good place to look as well. Anyway, so back to this little example. I did the one from 1976, and then I did an educational one that was created by the religion department. And then there was one that the church, like they've had it at the church history museum. Wait, yeah. But they just released it to the general public on YouTube as well. And so I used those 3. And so I just kind of talked about, if I compared all 3 of them together, these were my, you know, my major takeaway was that each one of them are kind of different and seemed to be most concerned about the audience that they're addressing at the time. Remember, you're going to talk about media ecology this week in the book. And when it talks about how the medium is the message, what we're saying here is that our audience is going to be determined by the type of medium that we use. And that was really evident. So I could have put that in here. I guess I haven't, you know, like I said, I haven't finished it, but I could use that as an example of how there's huge decades that spanned each one of the videos, and the audience also is affected by the type of media that they were produced in. Okay, so this is kind of how I started it, and then I transitioned to one term. So you can see that I have my term bolded here. If you can do that, it'll help us with grading. If I copy and paste this into Canvas, it should remain bolded. And so that will, again, it just helps us with grading because we're going to read them, but it helps our eyes when you start reading. So we'll have about 165 to grade. And after you read so many of them, it's like your brain's going to stop working. So if you can bold your concepts and your vocabulary words, that will help.
Dr. Bridget? Dr. Bridget?
Uh-huh.
We're not seeing what we just see the rubric right now.
You do?
Yeah.
Let me change my thing then. Pierce, thank you. Did somebody try to say that to me and I kept talking?
Oh, people have been writing it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Pierce.
You're welcome.
All right. So can you see it now?
There we go. Yay.
Yay. Okay. I'm so sorry. It just occurred to me that I had my videos right over my notation that says check the chat. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, so can you see it now? You can kind of read through it too. And then when I send this out, the YouTube video out, you'll have time where you could pause it and read through it as well. So I hope that this helps at least give you some idea of what the formatting would look like. So if I were to continue on with this, what I would do, like I would probably do the whole bit about media ecology that I just explained to you. And you want to make sure you have some good transitions and a good kind of, like I said, it's kind of like a mini essay. Make sure you have a good thesis statement and that you have a good conclusion statement. But if you can get it right at 300 words, that would be great. Let's say you get 277 words and you like literally cannot think of anything else. don't just write stuff to write stuff. Just call it good there. And I'll just put some like, I'll go back into the rubric and put some like plus or minus 25 words or something. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry in that regard. Like, I don't want to make it too, I don't know, I just can't get that anal. But okay, tell me, what questions do you have about this? I'm gonna pull up my chat really quick here, maybe. Does anybody have a question they dare? Wait, what if somebody raises their hand and I can't see it? Okay, I'm looking. All right, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go back now and I'm going to share the other screen with you back to Canvas, okay? Oh wait, let me check this. All right, so funny. Okay, so back to Canvas now. All right. Of course, we need to keep I'm just checking the chat. Please be mindful that if you tune into these, we will be updating you. Someone will be updating you on where to buy Dr. Pepper every week for the best price. So you can check the chat for that. All right, so again, remember to post by Friday night. That way you can just kind of take the weekend away from at least this class and not worry about it too much. Okay, let me go back to the modules so that we can kind of talk about what is coming up, because this is kind of the next major thing. The mass media and first vision communication experience was something else previously. And so I just want to make you mindful that it was this thesis workshop, which we're now going to be doing next week. But I want to take a minute with this as well. This thesis workshop is where we need you with your group to submit your thesis for your final presentation. And we're calling it a workshop because we are going to be giving you feedback on this. So you want to make sure that you're picking a topic from the book. So we're going to be looking at your topic and we're going to be looking at your approach to your final presentation. And that's what makes this particular assignment so important. Now we're going to be dividing you into your groups, right? Or you've signed up for a group. And so you'll submit this with your group. So not everyone needs to submit this. Once it's submitted for everyone. So that's something else that you can be mindful of. So you don't really need to work that over. Now remember, April 8th is Wednesday. So we've pushed back the deadlines for nearly everything to April 15th, but this is not one of those. This is one that needs to be done by next Wednesday. That way we can give you feedback on your presentation, your topic, or whatever the case might be. All right, so that is something that I need to make you aware of, and we're going to talk about those theses in more detail in our webinar next week. So I'll give you some examples. So next week's going to look pretty chill, and the reason for that is because we want you to be working with your group on your media presentation. And then you're going to be submitting your presentation by April 18th. So that's another piece of this that's really important. You see that all this is due on the 18th, so your works cited page that goes along with your media presentation is due. And then you're also going to give us a group evaluation, like what was it like to work in the group that you're working with. The last thing I kind of want to give you a heads up about so it doesn't get lost in finals week is this communication experience. So this is going to be kind of like our final. So we're not doing an exam, but I do need you to do this active listening communication experience. And what you're going to be doing is going in and you're going to be watching 3 presentations. So the presentation submissions on time is really important because basically our final is going to be watching those. Okay, so and then that's like the end of the semester. That's kind of where we are, like what's going to be going on, and then we'll be done and I'll cry because you're not in my classes anymore, and it'll be really, sad and good at the same time. All right, what questions do you have? Okay, Lydia, what do you have?
Okay, so when I was looking at the thing, I don't correct me if I'm wrong. On the group presentation, what is that? The media presentation, was that supposed to be in a video where we're all together? And if so, how were we supposed to do that?
So here's what I'm thinking. You might need to video yourselves and then have someone be like a designated editor. So my personal opinion is if you can divide up the group work in a way that everyone kind of has an equal share, that is what matters to me. I don't necessarily have to see everyone on the screen. So you could say you have 5 people in your group, 3 of them are going to film themselves talking about it. One person is going to do the editing on it. Another person's going to do some After Effects on, however it is that you want to divide up that equal share. Maybe one person's going to do the research and write a script, and 3 people are going to do the presentation, and one person's going to edit. You can do it like that, or you can kind of everyone be on it, and one person who loves to edit might piece them all together in iMovie. That's fine too. It'll be, you're supposed to submit them through Go React, which is a program I have not ever used. So I would recommend, if you have any questions about that, maybe Abby or Taylor, who are TAs from the online class, but also can help you with this, with the face-to-face class as well. They might be able to help you, and I'll do what I can to try and learn it. I'm going to go in and figure it out and see kind of what's going on, but that's where it's going to be submitted. So just a heads up on that. Okay, what other questions do you have, if any, about anything that's coming up? Anyone have any other questions? I just want to bring up Jared, can you talk so we can see you? Can you see his, oh my land. I just want you to see, he has like an entire, his background is Dr. Pepper, like his virtual background. So funny. Okay, so quick, so we have other questions. You can always email me. We can always set up individual times to meet with Zoom as well, or I can meet with your group. I'm happy to do that. So I don't mind having Zoom meetings. They can be really helpful. So if we don't have any other questions, then I will just kind of wrap things up for today. And you're doing great work. Just one last thing for the people who are in the COMMS 101 online class, we're not going to be doing Wednesday webinars anymore. They will only be on Mondays at 4, because we've had such a small percentage of people, 1, log in, and 2, watch the YouTube videos. So we'll just be doing 1 webinar for the rest of the semester, which there aren't that many left anyway. Okay, so the webinars, if you just are logging in late, I will be uploading this to YouTube, and then you can go back on and we'll send out the link and you'll be able to watch it there. Okay, any other questions? Oh, this is important. Sam is saying for video editing, Adobe products are all free this month for students. So you just need to make an account with your net ID at byu.edu, and you'll be able to have free access to Adobe. So that is a super awesome thing. You can also use, like, we use Adobe Spark for baby videos too. You can do something like that. So if you do like run into roadblocks, please let us know. We'll help you brainstorm like how to manage things. So Sierra, can you clarify a little bit for me? Oh, is this, so she's at Sam, does this like the whole month of March, which ends in a few days, or the whole month of April? So April, okay, cool. That's super helpful. Yeah, So if you're looking at the chat right now, there is an option for you to be able to use Adobe. It looks like it's may have been longer than that. So anyway, take advantage of the software that's free that can help you with the project, sorry. All right, any other questions that you have or concerns? I know it always takes a minute to like type them in if you're trying to type or whatever the case might be. Okay, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting then. If you do have any questions, you're welcome to stay on. So I'll end the meeting, but if you want to come back in, you'll use the same link and to ask any personal questions. So, all right, friends, we'll see you later. Bye.